Hello, I am going to talk to you and show you different levels of communication in conversation based on our state of being, in other words, our consciousness. And I have a little diagram, and I think I will do this. And I will explain what I'm doing in a second. But basically, what you're seeing here is what I would call levels of consciousness. So this is the lower level of consciousness, this is the next one up. And as you can see, it starts off pretty small and then it gradually expands up and out. And if you imagine yourself as a molecule and you're inside this smaller shape and you've got like a population of like 5 million all squished in here, you can imagine it's going to be kind of crowded, it's going to feel slightly aggravating and dense, and there's going to be a sense of pressure. But with the same number of people, as you expand outwards, you can see immediately that you have more space. And even just imagining yourself as that same molecule with the same population, all of a sudden it's like you've got more room. Same as a goldfish. You know, a small number of goldfish in a bowl, the bigger the bowl, the more it turns into an aquarium, the more space there is for movement. And so when we're thinking of creativity and consciousness, what we need is space and movement. And in doing that, it leads to discovery. Actually, I'll go here. It gives you freedom, which leads to discovery, which leads to innovation. Another way of thinking about this is, I'm going to go back here. So these levels of consciousness and expansion are kind of going up and out like that. And the way I thought about that was helpful for me, because I'm a musician and some of you might be familiar with this. And this is not going to be the best drawing, but bear with me. So that goes like that. That goes like that. I'm drawing you a keyboard. Slightly badly. Hang on. So da 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 da. So that goes like that. Actually, this is the way to do it. I'll do it this way around. And then it does that. And then you got that going like that. And I think that's an octave, give or take. So we're going to end that there. Now, on a keyboard or a piano, you have approximately, I think it's 4.5 or 5 octaves. So in a way, you could think of this as the range, the access to the number of octaves. And if you were a painter, you could think of this as how many variations on the color brown can you get? Because there's a lot of browns, yellows, reds, greens, blues, purples. And the more expansive your consciousness, the greater your palette, the greater the range of thought. Same with the music. If I only can play in 1 octave, that limits me. But if I have a whole keyboard of 5, let's say 5 octaves, I can make much more music with that. I can create more intonation, more dynamics, more melody. So I'm just going to check here to see what else I want to add. Oh yeah, the difference in terms of conversation. So we're looking at this conversation from the perspective of conversation. So down here in the dense area, I would say perhaps we could say this is where debate happens. It's also where arguments happen. And again, just think to how it feels when you're too squashed and you don't have enough space. I would say when you start to get more expanded, what happens is you move to discussion. And as we all know from our own experience, discussion is more civilized, basically. We can explore things, it's a little less rushed. In other words, the atoms, the molecules, whatever, are not moving around quite so frenetically. They're not being pushed to resolution. So in that state of expansion, we can think more easily and explore various perspectives, different people's realities. So it allows for a little more leisure or leisure, as some people might say, in the exploration of what is. And I would say, if we imagine this like more and more and more expanded, I would say up here, and I'm speaking from the perspective of creativity and innovation, so that's why I'm caring about this. Up here is where you get to discovery. And discovery is, I'm going to go with a bigger pen. Discovery is what we're after. Because right now, these days, in business and in life, we have social and environmental issues that are causing a lot of heartbreak. And we need to get more and more clever with how we create resolution, how we discover new ways of fixing things. The discovery needs to be based on discussion, not just debate. So we can't, with debate, we are debating facts. That's the difference. So I'm going to go here. So debate, we throw facts around. Facts are important. With discussion, we look at nuance and implication. And with discovery, we look at solutions, sustainability, so sustainable solutions. What else in there? And I would actually add transformation. When we can find solutions from this space of expansion, what happens is we transform and transmute not just the problem, but ourselves in the process of discovering the solution to the problem. So you can probably guess by what I'm saying that my bias is to get here, is to leave this realm of thinking that we've either got wrong or right. I would say that is both wrong. It's not wrong or right. It's not this or that. It's not either or. It is incorporating nested hierarchies of truth as they expand. It's this and. It's how about this, and how about if we put these together? How about if we say we actually know nothing and we go with beginner's mind? Then we go into this area where we can start doing something called deep listening. And deep listening is probably the crux of where we find our wisdom. If we have to fix a solution really fast, you can still do it in a way that is centered in a place of stillness. And that might sound contradictory, and it kind of is, because stillness resides in this layer and speed resides down here. So how do you do those at the same time? How do you fix a problem when you haven't got any time? Surely you have to go, well, then we'll pick this or we'll pick that. This worked last time, this worked, so we're going to make sure it works this time. And maybe that's not accurate, and maybe it's not sustainable. Maybe it's a solution that will last for 5 minutes or 5 days, even 5 months. But what will it create in the meantime? If it was too rushed, what other problems is it going to generate that then you have to deal with? So exponentially, if we rush, we could be causing more problems than solutions ultimately. So with deep listening, what we're actually doing is going in here. So although this is weird, so bear with me, although we're going broader and expanding our consciousness, where the I that is talking to you right now goes is into the center of that. So if you think of this even as a hurricane, when you go into the center, there's a stillness there that knows itself. And if groups of people can actually come into here and meet here, I think that's when things get interesting. I think that is when we can look at things this way, holistically. And what that means is, as you can imagine from this part of the word, it means we see the totality of the problem, but it also means that we have access to what I might say is the totality of the solution. So the problem and the solution reside in each other. And we're only going to find that here, which is here. But in here, when all people show up and are present, and I mean present as in paying attention, listening deeply, which means kind of listening with your body, not just listening to data, but actually listening for the stillness, then it's actually less effort. The mental activity reduces, the stress level reduces, there's a quietness, a mindfulness that comes in. And I feel like I could actually guarantee you that when we make a decision collectively from a place of shared mindfulness, that is when transformative things happen, and that is when our consciousness expands and who we are becomes greater than who we were at the beginning of the conversation. So that is what I want to share with you about how to have a creative conversation that is based on something that could generate results that are actually not only going to be solution based, but are also going to create coherence between the participants that are looking to create that solution and that are listening for it. So don't stay here. If you find yourself arguing with someone and it's like tennis, just going back and forth, go in like this, go in and see if you can generate a sense of expansion. If you want to know how to do that, you're going to have to watch the next video. So thank you very much, and I hope you can use this. Bye-bye.